I'm here.
Hello and welcome to another edition of All About Berea. I'm Chad Hembry.
And I'm Beth Myers.
And we are joined this evening at the Back Porch Barbecue, where we're doing a show in front of a live audience with a couple other people joining us in the restaurant. We got Jonathan Schinhofen here with us again.
Hey, guys.
And I'm going to have to quit introducing
Your
him as
best
guest.
friend that you know so well.
And, of course, Mr. Jim Lucas is joining us here right now. Later on, we'll have Belle Jackson from Tourism and Augustin Anger going to sing a few songs for us and talk about what's going on with them this fall season and where you might be able to hear them playing at. So very, very excited about today's show. And before we get started with anything else, though, we're going to go straight into 4 things you should know with our editor, Miss Beth Myers.
Thanks, Chad. This is 4 things you should know. First of all, Berea Community has started a program, Watchdogs, standing for Dads of Great Students, that has been very successful so far. The program has a simple premise. Get the fathers, grandfathers, uncles, or any other males connected to a student of the school and ask them to volunteer at least one day. The goal is to have a watchdog in the school every day to assist teachers and to help students. The priority is to offer students a positive male role model. That is not to say that that's not an easy thing to have, just not an easy thing to say. As so far, they had 118 men show up at the inception, and 50 have already signed up. Secondly, the program Of Hands and Hearts, the Kentucky Guild of Artists and Craftsmen, will be playing Monday. This is on KET's Kentucky Muse program, a program that features different creativity in the bluegrass. This program will feature the history of the Guild and the artist members. People who miss the airing of the program can see it online at ket.org. An employee of the Madison County Detention Center was charged with trafficking for a controlled substance last Saturday. Donna Hunter, who's 50, was arrested by a KSP narcotics detective. She was charged not only with trafficking, but promoting contraband and prescription not in the proper container. She is being detained at the Rockcastle County Detention Center now. And finally, Berea Community is going to be celebrating their fall homecoming this weekend. Festivities have been scheduled from September 23rd to 28th. I believe we're not going to go up on the internet until Friday, but the homecoming parade will have been at Thursday at 4, and their football team will be taking on Ludlow with kickoff at 7:30 p.m. And that is it for 4 things you should know.
Thank you very much, Beth. The program that the Guild has done, have you seen that yet? Did you go to the
I have not, because they had previews. I know Jeanette Rowlett said that I think Ronnie Terrell was there from the council, the mayor was there, Virginia Petty and Janet Northern were both interviewed, basket makers here in Berea who are in the Guild. I heard it was fabulous, just a really kind of visually stunning program. So, have you seen it, Chad?
No, I
didn't think you. Yeah, I think unless you made it to that preview was actually at the Guild building. So the next chance will be Monday, and then after it actually airs, they'll put it online.
Jim, you didn't see it, did you? You didn't go up there.
No, I didn't.
And Belle, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Well, okay. We don't have much to talk about there. All right.
So skip over that one.
Jonathan, do you know about the game coming up with Berea? What we should expect?
Well, there's this oblong ball that
a bunch of people running up and down the field trying to.
Yeah.
Hey, you're speaking to a former lineman here. I mean, not that he ever really touched the ball, but he tried to keep people from tackling the one who had it.
I was on the same field where there was a ball. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no,
you're within close vicinity of it.
I don't have a preview on that one. Sorry.
Isn't it true that you usually try to schedule the teams you can beat on homecoming, or is that not true?
I guess you'll have to ask a football coach.
Okay.
Well, we had him on the show a few weeks ago.
Kind
of
a prejudice. We were busy talking about head injuries. Homecoming game just didn't have time.
Didn't make the radar.
I don't even know Ludlow. That is completely unfamiliar.
No,
town
I
to
didn't
me.
either. That's why I was asking Jonathan.
Yeah.
He's usually up on that stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I mean, certainly a school like Berea Community is going to tend to schedule smaller schools and stuff. So, down in southeastern Kentucky, how many people know about Berea Community School? We go to their homecoming and they're like, who is this? Who are these guys?
Hopefully somebody we can beat. Yeah. Well, and I think Southern's homecoming, go ahead and say that one is October 10th, I believe is their homecoming parade and then games. So that'll be happening a little bit later. But then they started school later, so everything's a little bit more delayed.
Yeah, that'll be after their fall break. Do we know when the fall break is for the community school?
Berea Community is next week. Is that Southern as well? Or the county school system as well?
Yeah, it's only a half week for the county school. Is it a full week for Berea?
Yeah, we always get 5 because, we're special.
Well, as long as we're talking Southern football, I should jump in here.
Our students are so good that they get 2 more days.
Is that what it is? All right, let's hear about the football. What do you guys say?
Yeah. Well, I should remind people that Madison Southern Eagles football team are 4-0 at this point, which is a rare feat for them, and they are looking really good. They scheduled some tough teams. They scheduled Madison Central for one, and Dunbar. Anyway, a lot of times you'll find schools like Beth just said. If they're a Division IV school, you'll find them padding their schedule with 3A and 2A, but Southern, which is a 5A, which is the second biggest, has played some 6A teams and a 5A team in Rockcastle County, which was 4A, but they weren't padding their non-district schedule. But the rest of the season, the last 5 games are all district games, and they're looking good.
Great. And we were going to try to get John Clark on the show. Why you were working?
I
on
can
that?
get John on the show.
There were
let's do
some
that.
rumors swirling around about a dishonoring of the Rock when they went down to Rockcastle County. Do you know if there's any truth to that?
I think I wasn't there. I talked to some people who talked to some people who were there. Basically, some news channel in Lexington used as their teaser, and the whole news story was
Dishonor the Rock.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he said, she said, but there's nothing I've read as a person who wasn't there that really constitutes evidence.
The truth's in the middle.
Oh, we had a great rivalry in high school. I remember they sent us black roses.
You don't know anything about that, do you,
dead
Jim?
goats
Truth
up
in the
in front
middle?
of their gym.
Yes, I do. A lot.
Yeah, I'm sure someone spit on the Rock at some point, but they were talking sledgehammers and I don't know.
And other nefarious acts we don't want to mention.
Well, we've invited Jim Lucas to come on the show here with us, and he's going to be talking a little bit about a petition that a group of citizens have gotten together that are pushing the vote for alcohol sales in Berea. And we want to try to get some myths put away from what that is, and some truths out there about what people can do, whether they're for or against. Either way, we're going to be fair about that. And basically just to try to educate the listeners a little bit on it.
Okay, basically, I'll rehash the talk I gave to the City Council last Tuesday, which I titled Process, Myths, and Misinformation. And it could have been mayhem, but anyway, the process, there's a group of us that have been working for, not formally, but informally for a little over a year, and we basically started the formal process in April, but the process involved researching what had previously happened in Berea, such as the July 2007 vote, which lost by 414 votes. Of course, all the students were out of town. And so that probably accounted for maybe 250, 300 votes there. But anyway, we did a lot of background research at the Citizen to look at the articles for and against. We've worked hand in glove with the lawyers over in Frankfurt the chief counsel for ABC and the chief counsel for the Board of Elections to ensure that we do all this in accordance with the Kentucky revised statutes. We've worked with Kenny Barger's office here in Madison County since the petition cards that we currently have circulating will end up in his office. The process is basically we have to obtain signatures of registered voters equaling 25% of the voters that actually voted in the last election. In Berea, there's about 8,500 registered voters. Those that actually voted came somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,500 to 3,700. So we have to get 25% of that figure. We're doing well. We're probably well over 60, maybe even 70% now toward that goal. And then once we get the signature cards in here in Berea, we will use the same level of scrutiny that the county clerk will use when we give them to him. We'll give him a clean card deck, and we'll give him plenty of extras to play with. The county clerk has 60 days in which to certify the petition, and once it's certified, it's then turned over to the county judge executive, who sets a referendum date. The referendum date has to be either 30 days ahead of or 30 days behind any primary or general election. So that's basically the process. Myths that surround this is that this group of individuals are mostly out-of-towners, and they've just come into Berea to turn it wet, and that myth is totally wrong. I'm probably the newest person to Berea. I've only lived here permanently on a full-time basis for 5 years. The others, some of them have been born and raised here, and the others have been here for years. So it's local people. That's one myth. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Another myth is that bars, that we're going to have open bars in town, and in reality, by Kentucky revised statute, in a Class 4 city, you cannot have freestanding bars. All alcohol has to be served by the drink in a restaurant, in an establishment that serves food, such as this place here, or Smokehouse, Steakhouse, or any number of Dixie, the Dinner Bell, rather, any of those restaurants, any of the Mexican restaurants. So, and especially Boone Tavern. Boone Tavern has already been voted wet for liquor by the drink in a referendum 2 years ago that just involved the Ridge precinct. And should the Board of Trustees decide that they want to serve alcohol in Boone Tavern, they have that authority to do so now. Hopefully that'll come sooner than later. And then the mayhem or the misinformation, there's some information going around on the internet where we're trying to pack the petition cards, and when in reality we aren't. The labels that we used for mailers came from the Board of Elections, and I haven't talked with them, but in the run of the labels, there were duplicates. There could have been 100, there could have been 50. I have no way of knowing. I do know we've gotten about 25 or 30 back. And anyway, getting back to process, we will screen out all if duplicates are filled out, they'll be screened before they ever go to Kenny Barger. And if we miss something, he'll certainly catch it from that end. So there's rumors going around that we're trying to pack this, when the individual putting this information out, sort of inferring that there's perhaps a fraud going on, knows specifically that there isn't, because we've talked, and the process has been explained between us. So I'm sure there's other myths that'll come up, or other misinformation. I've only gotten 2 phone calls against it. We've gotten back about 5 or 6 petition cards that said we're against this, but they went ahead and filled out the petition card. The petition card doesn't mean anything. It's not a vote. It's just to get the issue into a referendum, and then you vote, and you can vote your conscience. I don't have a dog in this fight. I buy my liquor in Richmond right now. I just hate to leave my tax dollars there when they could be, those dollars could be used here in Berea. And so fill out the cards and send them in, or drop them off at City Hall. We'll take them any way we can get them, but we're doing well with the petition cards, and we're way ahead of what we thought we'd have by this time. And we have 90 days in which to complete the petition, and I think we'll be done certainly by the 60-day mark. What else would you like to know about?
Well, I think Beth was about to ask a question.
Well, actually, I was going to say it was kind of interesting because as soon as these were mailed at the newspaper, we started getting people calling saying, we got more than one petition card or more than two petition cards. I think they're trying to just get, I mean, it was funny.
Yeah.
We probably in the very first 2 days were getting all these cards about all these conspiracy theories. And what I was telling Teresa is I said, most of the time what you think is conspiracy is really like mistake. It probably has a lot more to do with the registered voter rolls and all that, because that's almost inevitably. But it is funny how reactive we can be with that kind
I'll
of thing.
tell you that I have seen I have seen records, spreadsheets downloaded from data sets of all the people who are registered, all the people who are voted. I've seen the lists of donors, and they're all riddled with errors, which does not imply malfeasance. It implies that we're human beings trying to do a lot of paperwork.
You just said that so you could say malfeasance, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So you could say really
There
smart.
is no list of donors.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant for state political
He's talking about
campaigns.
other
I'm
political
just
stuff, yeah.
talking about political records
Yeah.
of any kind where
Yeah,
you're.
That had nothing to do with the alcohol petition.
okay.
Disclaimer.
We use the voter registration list, which is about an inch thick, and it has about 79 names per page. None of the donors have to be made public until after the petition card goes to Kenny Barger, the petition deck. At that time, we will establish a political issues committee, and then everything is subject to the open records as far as donors. That's for the donors after the petition cards are submitted. Any donations prior to that are kept confidential.
Well, it's funny. I was teasing the staff in the clerk's office, because I go there to get the records that I put in the newspaper every week, that they are going to be really, really glad when Berea does finally go wet, because when they get this list, they are required to systematically go through and check every name. It's a really tedious process. So
Yeah.
I was like, you guys are probably going to be glad when we're done with all these local option election petitions you have to check.
Well-
But I did have one question for you,
Sure.
Jim. Did your group ever consider going for damp instead of wet? And I was just wondering
We
why you
did.
decided to go for wet, the total
We
wet.
did, because we considered that, but after we had talked to Danville, they said that you're just drawing out the process, that if they had it to do over, they'd have gone wet immediately and eliminated a second referendum. Because referendums are kind of expensive for small towns. You're talking maybe as much as $15,000 to $20,000.
Oh, yeah, the county really takes a hit on
Yeah.
these elections.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked about it quite a bit, but we decided we'd go wet and go from there. And then just to give you a flavor, as I recall, in the Kentucky Revised Statute, once you go wet, you're authorized one package store for every 2,300 people in population. So Berea is somewhere around 13,560. And then for liquor by the drink licenses, you get one per every 2,300, I believe, or just vice versa, one of those two figures. I think the package store, you end up with more package stores licensed than liquor by the drink, and then your Circle K and your Shell Marts can sell beer it requires a license, but there's no limit to that.
So, Jim, can I jump in here? I read the Kentucky Revised Statutes. I have to admit to being really confused.
My condolences.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, the local option elections. I mean, that legislative
Oh, it's
law is
horrible.
a mess.
But,
a total mess.
So, conspiracy theories aside, I never, give that. I don't even know what they are because I'm not even listening to them. But these terms come up, and I don't know what they mean. I can't vote responsibly if I don't know what they mean, and if I don't have that kind of information, I'm going to tend to vote against because.
Sure.
So here are my questions. What distinguishes a freestanding bar from from a restaurant that serves alcohol? And the other one is, what is a package store?
Okay. Let me give you examples because some of the comments we've received. First off, freestanding bar would be like going to a building and all you have in there is a bar and all you serve is alcohol, and that's prevented. A honky tonk or a speakeasy, if you're familiar with the 30s. But there will be no public facilities where there's just a bar. You're required to. You got various levels of liquor by the drink. You have to have seats for 50 or more people or 100 or more people, and you have to serve X percentage of food. So it would be restaurants like Boone Tavern, the Dinner Belle, the Mexican restaurants around here. This place.
So it's based on food as a percentage of receipts,
right.
and that guarantees that people really are going there to eat.
Yes,
okay.
People are going to eat.
Yes, it's not that they have a menu that's got dust on it.
Right. Peanuts on the floor.
With 3 things listed.
in package stores, one of the worries that I got was that, well, we don't want all those old package stores around here with all that signage. Well, signage is controlled by city ordinance, which is already in place. And secondly, if you go to Lancaster that went wet, they have 2 package stores, and I would defy you to drive through there and see the package stores right off. They blend well. They're well landscaped, and there's no gaudy signing. For instance, two facilities here that might opt for package store license would be Walgreens and Rite Aid, because in jurisdictions that are already wet, many Walgreens and Rite Aid already sell packaged liquor.
So by definition,
what you see is what you get. What we have here is what you get.
By definition, then the package store is where you buy bottles of liquor, bottles of wine, and beer by 6-pack or case or whatever.
Sure.
Okay.
It wouldn't look like most of the liquor stores up in Richmond. I can assure you that will not happen. And if you go to and we're approaching this strictly from an economic development and progress standpoint. If you go to Danville and take a look at their old town, there's mom and pop restaurants that have been built into homes. I mean, you wouldn't even know that they serve alcohol. They've got nice little wine and cheese shops in the old part, and there's nothing gaudy about it. I mean, unless you look at the title of the business.
Is Hooters going to come?
No, not that
Well, now Jonathan's against it.
I say no.
No, I don't want that kind of restaurant here.
Please clarify your position on that, especially with your wife sitting right next to you.
He said that with too much enthusiasm.
Well, he likes to see me jump.
Some of the concerns is that we will end up getting perhaps an area where you'd have an O'Charlie's and a Applebee's and restaurants like that. Personally, I don't think we'll ever see that, even if we go wet, because there isn't a population to support restaurants like that. You know, Richmond's only 10 miles up the road. I guess we could draw from Jackson County somewhat and Rockcastle County, but I dare say that probably you'll find local restaurants that'll crop up, and that's what'll be encouraged. We're also looking at perhaps microbreweries, where we'd have our own Berea brand of beer, and maybe Belle could speak to it. Maybe one of her learn shops could teach people how to make beer in their basement or wine.
Not
All
in their
right.
toilet.
We're running out of time on this subject, but there's
Okay.
a couple of things I want to say.
Okay.
One is, if you're against this, the best thing for you to do is not send the petition in, correct?
Well, sure, but the petition only.
Of course, some people are against
The petition
it,
only
send
allows
it in
you to vote
because they
against
think
it.
people should be able to vote on it. Or they want to vote on it now because then it'll be 3 years before you can do it again.
So, okay, so you send the petition in and we vote on it, and of course
Yeah.
you still have your right to vote against it.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
But there is not a petition. My point is, there's no petition against it. There's nothing
No.
you do if you're against it.
No.
Nothing
It's a
required
petition.
of you.
It's
Yeah.
a petition, and once the referendum is set, then you can vote against it or you can vote for it. That's your choice. And we encourage people to vote their conscience. If you're against it, vote against it.
Basically, the state just abdicated this whole issue. That's why we have this very complex set of local laws.
Yeah.
State's like, we're not
Yeah.
going to decide the wet issue. Everybody, you just do it in your communities. So.
And, in a, I guess probably an 80-mile radius, you've had about 8 towns go wet. You had Manchester, you had Corbin and London, you had Somerset. The smallest is Burnside, with about 1,800 people. The largest is Elizabethtown, on over south of Fort Knox, at about 29,000. And Georgetown went wet. Go up and take a look at Georgetown. Their old town area of Georgetown is really thriving now with little businesses and boutiques. Somebody was worried about us changing the face of Berea, and I said, yeah, if you're talking about the face of Berea being empty storefronts on Chestnut and on Broadway, yeah, we would like to change that. We would like to get tenants in there and either crafts or something that would complement the town, and the revenue from the alcohol would provide a stimulus to do that.
Well, Jim, we really appreciate you coming on here and
Yeah,
talking
I
about
really
this.
appreciate the amount of communication about it. I think that's been a real strength. of
Thanks
this,
for
Paul
inviting
Drive.
me. And if you have any questions, contact me. My phone number's been published in the paper, and if you want it, it's 703-909-6574.
Brave
All right,
man.
we appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad that you. And we will have. We're going to have people
a lot.
on here that are on the other side of the story as well. So we'll have both sides of the coin available to you from here. You're listening to All About Berea. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be with the tourism director, Miss
Miss
Belle
Belle.
Jackson. Here we go. Hello and welcome back to All About Berea. I'm Chad Hembry, and here in the restaurant with Beth Myers, and now joining us is Miss Belle Jackson, Director of Tourism here in Berea.
And if I could just give a thank you to the staff here at Back Porch who are working around it and hopping around serving the kids who are running around. I really appreciate their patience.
It's actually a very good environment. It's
Yeah.
well lit. I'm really enjoying being here. Appreciate it very much in the hospitality. Well, Belle, wanted to get you in here for a few things. One
Already
is
had your sister in here, so.
I'm sorry, I can't top that. That's a hard act to follow.
But first of all, let's just take a moment and just kind of tell us what tourism's up to right now.
Wow. I think Beth and I had a conversation just yesterday on all the things that we do. I think most people believe that the only thing we do in tourism is create a rack card, 4-color, to tell people to come on down. But in actuality, we have a variety of items that are on our agenda, from the learn shops to motor coach to school groups to printing brochures, keeping up a website, putting out a newsletter. We have 2 full-time welcome centers that we staff 7 days a week. So we're constantly busy, and no day is like the day before. And I think that's why I like it, because it's exciting. You never know what's going to walk in the door and what the questions people are going to ask. And so that's the fun part for me.
Well, and this is really a town that's come, there's businesses dependent on the tourism dollar. And I was thinking of this, Belle, during our discussion. So during tough times like we've been having, a lot of eyes are going to turn towards your office as far as, well, get more people in here because we need these businesses. But while you guys do a lot of stuff, neither are you miracle workers to, you know.
I've been
Of course,
doing
you could
this
set
job.
up roadblocks maybe and force people to get off
We
the
could.
interstate.
We could. We
that
could
may be some
blow
more
up the
nuclear
exits or
options to
something,
use
yeah.
here.
I don't think that would actually work, Beth. Good idea, but I don't think it would work.
Well, how do you know till you try it?
Well,
Bill?
there
Come
you go.
on.
There we go. That would be a toughie, then. I've been in this position 15 years, and I don't think we've ever gone through a tougher economic time in this country, and it's reflected in how people spend their money. If you're trying to send a child to school, you're going to buy their tennis shoes and their books before you're going to come and buy a piece of art and craft. I think our numbers are not quite as good as they have been, the number of people coming in, but they're still up there. I think the difference is they're not spending the money. They'll come and look, and we're a great place to visit. They can go climb the pinnacles. They can walk our trails. They can walk around and watch our artists work. They can look at all the cool stuff in the galleries and studios. But literally, they've got enough money to feed the kids and put gas in the car and go on their
Right.
way. So I
Right.
think that's tough.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and when you're thinking everyone who comes in, if they've lowered their spending percentage even by 10%, that's going to impact.
It's a
great
major
impact on the town.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
And certainly I know that for us, it's a lot more about traveling and packing lunches and doing a lot more hiking than going to the amusement parks. I mean, it's really become the economic vacation.
Right.
A lot of it. So.
Right. And like I said, we've gone through a lot of things in my tenure as executive director, but I believe this is the toughest economic time we've looked at. I call it the ADF. It's the Appalachian Delay Factor.
Wait a minute. That's good.
Do you like that
I gotta
one?
soak
You can
that
use
one in.
that.
ADF, kind of ADD.
It's different, but everybody uses initials. But I think what happens in Washington, D.C. or on the coast, it's a little bit delayed by the time it gets to us, but I think it's gotten to us.
Yeah.
I don't think the traffic on I-75 is any less than it has been. It's still 30,000 cars a day. I think people still get off, but they get off to stretch their legs, have a walk through and look, but they just don't have the money to buy anymore.
I can believe that.
I can feel it in my pocket.
I think the sales up here at the Artisan Center have proven that too, correct? Aren't they down?
They certainly haven't grown, and their visitation has grown because of they've closed the rest areas, so people are getting off to use their facilities, and again, it's beautiful to walk in and take a look at that and do what they need to do and get back on the road and head to Granny's, where you can get biscuits and gravy in the morning and canned beans. That's what I'm going for, homegrown beans, things like that.
So what about that? Is one of your sites though, right? You keep a person there staffed.
We do. We staff the Artisan Center 7 days a week, and try to, if I can say, hook people to come into Berea. But you can't. They have their mind made up when they come in. We just hope we can interest them with what they see at the Artisan Center, invite them back, and I think that happens. We have people all the time that come in and say, well, I was at the Artisan Center last year and thought this year I'd spend a little more time here and come in and see what's available.
Okay, Beth, did you have another question before? There's two things I want to try to squeeze in the amount of time.
Oh, and then maybe it was the same thing. I thought, first of all, Belle could make the piece of good news announcement that I saw on your Facebook, was it? For the...
About being one of the best small towns in America?
Yeah, just got another one of those.
How cool is that?
It's very cool.
I think it was number 3, right?
I think number 3.
Behind
yeah.
Alaska and...
Haines, Alaska,
Midwest.
and
Midwest town.
Spring Grove, Wisconsin, which has a huge Shakespeare festival. But we're number 3.
Yeah.
Come on. I'll take
It's like
3.
executive travel
Right,
website.
right.
Yeah,
and I think we should pat ourselves on the back. We are the real deal. I mean, people look at us. Sometimes it's hard as an insider to look around and not recognize all the really cool things that we do as a community. But when visitors come in, I get to see that, and that's what keeps me pumped up. I get to see their enthusiasm, and they walk in and say, "This is one of the nicest places I've ever been," and to be recognized for that, to be recognized for doing some really cool stuff, and it's a good thing, and the city should celebrate that. That's great.
All right, the first thing I was going to ask is there was a trip that was planned over the Spoonbread, and that caught some flack because of the timing, but it wasn't on your time card. And I was guilty of teasing you about it. I didn't give you a hard time, but I teased you about it.
Did I jump you for that one?
No, you didn't jump me
I'll
for
try.
that one. But
She can't even remember who she jumps.
That's right. That's right.
but
Were you one of those?
Indiscriminate
But
lashing.
I did want to give you an opportunity to talk about how that came about.
We did the Tourism Commission is always looking at what's a 5-year plan, what's a 10-year plan, what can we do? I mean, to your question, how do we continue to be economically viable? How do we keep the money coming in? And I know that there are people who don't really think we are a tourist community, but believe me, folks, we are. People all over the world know about Berea and Berea College, and those that can come and visit. So as we're looking at how we need to change the paradigm, because folks obviously are not buying as much as they used to, how do we do something to help them, relieve them a little more of that change? So we planned a trip to a community as part of that, and just looking at what we're going to do in the future. One of the communities we wanted to do a site visit to is a place called Siler City, North Carolina, and it's about an 8-hour drive from here. And I think the question is, why did we pick that date? I think the very quick answer is we didn't. When you ask someone to open their community to you and provide you with officials to speak to and all the things that they wanted to show us, you go when they ask you to come. And it happened to be during the Spoonbread Festival, and they were having an event that weekend. So, and I'm famous for saying, whatever date you pick to do something, you're going to screw with somebody else's date that they want to do something. So you just have to go and learn as much as you can. And really, the folks that we took with us, I don't think injured the Spoonbread Festival that much. Now, did it cause some people not to go? Possibly. But that then leads to the folks that went. We'll tell you what it was. We're going to try to do a presentation to City Council and Tourism Commission about what we saw and what we learned, and it was a good process. It was a good learning experience.
Okay, and the next subject, the one that's made it onto our show twice now, is about the guild, and they were seeking money. And of course, they went to tourism first. And it ends up that was the same issue that the city ended up having with it, that there is actually a law that prohibits giving money for
capital improvements.
improvements.
I call it bricks and mortar, right?
So the only way that a city government or tourism could put money into these programs is if there's a contract, and then the contract is completed, and then you pay them for the service that they rendered.
Well, I don't know if that's the only way, but it has been that even when I go out and seek monies from NEA or Kentucky Arts Council or a CDBG grant, Community Block Development Grant, it all has to be, for the 99% of it, for mission or for project or for programming. People don't really fund you to build a building. So that was an issue with us. I sort of look at the Tourism Commission and City Council. We don't have something out there to fund development. I know for years we had and still have the industrial park, and we had a fund for that where we built a shell, we built the road to it, we did put the electric in there, and then it was ready for a business to come in and do. Maybe we should do that again, but look at incubating or helping out different types of business, not industry in the old sense of the word, but maybe job creation or mission focused. If we want new artists to come in, maybe we need to prepare a fund and a place for that. If we want a new restaurant to come in, maybe we need to prepare that. Again, I think for me it all goes back to economics. Money is tough. People that are getting ready to start small businesses are going to struggle with banks not having money for them. So maybe it's an opportunity for the City and Tourism Commission to look at doing something to develop these small businesses together.
Okay. Beth, did you have another question?
I was just going to add to that, and of course you have the interesting specter of the Churchill Company, who has committed one of their spaces, they said, for artists incubating, that they'll
Right.
take that cost, and also business incubation. So it's kind of interesting. A couple different parties are working with this, so I'll be very excited to see how this pans out.
Well, we've got about 3 minutes here left, and there's a question that I want you, in your words, to describe. Kind of put in context
You cannot use other people's words.
That's right.
How
Don't
the-
put words in my mouth.
how the Department of the City Tourism versus the Tourism Commission, how that relationship works.
I think that's the key word. It's a relationship, and I see nothing but positive relationship with that. Can you imagine if we were fighting each other over this and not looking at a common goal for the city of Berea and using every resource we could to move the city forward? That's great.
Well, can you define it just a little bit, how the process works?
I mean, they have decision-making power over the tourism, but I guess the city council would be over that.
Well,
I think Chad is partly talking about the logistics of this, right?
Yes.
Logistics, I wish it was that clear cut. City council, in both cases of our revenue stream, our transient room tax and the restaurant tax, those ordinances were written by City Council.
Okay.
And so it funds a department. So it still goes through the budget. Still has to be looked at, and Chad, you know this, our budget comes with fire and police and utilities, and so I
And
mean,
your employees are employees of the city.
they absolutely.
They're not employees of the Tourism Commission. That is a commission
Well-
set just basically to do what? Vision and funding and direction and...
Well, we were talking about the alcohol, the Kentucky Revised Statutes. Let me tell you, even lawyers can't understand that sometimes. But to form a tourism commission, initially, the KRS says you must have transient room tax, which is a 3% tax on head in bed, we call it. And in order to have that and be able to write the ordinance to form a tourism commission, you had to have a commission formed of particular individuals with particular jobs. Like there are 2 restaurant owners, there are 2 hoteliers, there are 2 sort of at-large members, and there is 1 representative from the chamber, and that is across the board, across the state of Kentucky. Now, I think the city of Berea probably adheres to that ordinance more than any other community that I know of, and I'm involved with most of them on a level. And I think we are tied to the city of Berea in a closer relationship than a lot of tourism commissions, and I can't see anything more than positive coming out of that. I don't know what we have done in the past or could do in the future that wouldn't need the buy-in and the approval of both groups.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
That's a good explanation, and I appreciate you sharing with us and being here on the show with us, visiting with us, and we're definitely going to have you
Taking one
have
of
you
your
back in
evenings
here.
out of your very
Yeah.
busy life.
And you know,
Appreciate it.
when you talk about that, I say politics are kind of like making sausage. The end product can be pretty good, but nobody really wants to see what goes into it.
Oh, it's
You know,
ugly.
yeah.
It's an ugly thing. Yeah, when you get all that together. But that's also the fun part is, you've got to get people at the table. They've got to have a common vision. And you're absolutely right. Let's do some sausage.
All right.
Let's make some sausage. And next time I come, I'm going to play banjo.
This
Are these
metaphor
guys
is not
gonna play?
working for me.
Yes, they're
but
going to.
okay.
Yeah.
That metaphor you've lost, have
The
you?
sausage thing is just
Okay, let's make some bacon. But that's a little different, too.
bread, maybe something like that.
All right.
Thank you
well,
all so much.
Thank you for being on
Yeah,
the show.
thank you, Belle.
Coming up next, we're going to have August in Anger. Hello and welcome back to All About Berea. This has been a pretty full show. I've been very happy with what's going on out here. We've had two very good
Hitting a lot
guests.
of political hot buttons here. Yeah,
Yes,
very
we've
good.
had Jim Lucas on here talking about the wet, dry vote. And, of course, then we had Belle Jackson in here sharing with us and had a pretty good 4 things you should know. Now we're going to finish up with old friend
Some
of mine.
great
And
music.
I'm telling you.
Old friend.
Yeah, it is old friend. It's been probably 23 years since we played together in a little country band. Yeah.
So what was this?
So 23
back
years.
in the teenage years?
Yes, back in the teenage years, Edgar and I actually played in a little country band. It didn't do much. We played a couple parties.
So
and
it's
stuff.
been 23 years since Edgar wised up. Is that?
That's right, and he has since moved on. And,
ditched the dead
and I
weight.
dropped out. So, yeah. Thanks. But he's in here with his band that he's performing with now, August and
The guy
Anger.
who replaced
and
you with,
and
right?
I'm going to let him introduce everyone, or let them introduce themselves, and we're going to ask them a few questions. But go ahead and do introductions first there.
Okay, my name is Charles Chastain from August and Anger. I'm the vocalist.
I'm the drummer, Austin Thomas.
Okay.
Aren't you going to beat on the, benches or something? Come on.
We got
Everything's
John
a
Wynn, bass
percussion.
player, on the table. He's too sorry to chime in tonight.
Antisocial.
Now, Chad may know this, but
And
Ask
Edgar
them a
Turner.
question.
We didn't say your full name.
Guitar
Sorry.
player.
I can ask
Yeah.
a question before they play.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk
So
to me.
what's the name of the band? Where does that come from?
August and Anger.
Yeah.
Actually,
At first I thought it was August in Anger,
no, it's and.
which I was very compelled by trying to figure that one out. But then I found out it was August and Anger.
Actually, the name come up. August is my birth name or my birth month, and I just kind of thought that and Anger sounded cool, so we decided on that.
It sounded cool, Beth. Leave him alone.
So often that's it, you want some kind of deep, dark psyche, and it's always like, you know what, it sounded good. Back up. It was an alliteration.
So, typically, how would you describe your music? That's a hard one. Look at
I think
you.
the best way to describe us is original rock.
Original rock. I like
We don't
that.
like to deal with the covers that much, so probably most of the people haven't seen us play, and that may be the reason why. But
So you guys write most of your stuff?
yes,
Not too heavy, not too light, nothing too crazy.
Going back to maybe 50s,
Something in the
60s?
middle.
I wouldn't
Okay.
say that far.
It's modern. I would say modern, but
Well, people can
we
get
don't
their own
wanna-
opinion in a minute. They'll hear you in just a
we don't
moment.
wanna
I just
really
wanted, in your words, what
pick
I
one
wanted.
genre. I mean, a little bit of everything.
Okay. And how long have you been playing together?
We've been formed since what, late 2007?
2007 probably.
Had a couple of different member changes, but yeah, I guess late 07.
Yeah. Well, 6 years, I guess.
That's great. And
Maybe 7, actually.
well, I'll tell you what. Before we get on too many questions, what we'll do is maybe hear a song from you and then talk a little bit more and do that as well. So why don't you go ahead and pick a song for us there?
Cool. Do April. The song is called April.
So April from August in Anger.
I saw you from across the bar. Our eyes met sifting through the crowd. The music's loud and the lights are low. I'm feeling good from the liquor flowing. Next thing I knew, you're standing next to me. I See your smile up close and it beats my mind. The attic's rocking and my ears are ringing. The way you move has got me believing. The touch of your skin makes me think about your body next to mine. When the lights go out and it feels so right, just like the first time. Just wish I had one more, just one more April night. Side by side we slide across the crowded floor. Night is winding down, but I still want more. 'Cause I get lost when I look into your eyes. The taste of your lips got me mesmerized. Closer still, just can't get close enough. Night is closing down and it's time for us to part. My head is spinning and my mind is racing. Kiss your neck and there's no mistaking. The touch of your skin makes me think about your body next to mine. When the lights go out and it feels so right, just like the first time. Just wish I had one more, just one more April night. Touch of your skin makes me think about your body next to mine. When these lights go out and it feels so right, just like the first time. Wish I had one more, just one more April night. Just one more April night. Oh, just one more April night. Oh, just one more April night.
All right. That's fantastic. Now, you wrote that one?
Yeah.
And when did you write that one?
Gosh, when was April? April's a pretty new song. That was maybe a couple of years ago, year and a half.
Maybe a year and a half. Well, a year and a half.
Year and a half ago? All right. And have you recorded it yet?
It's funny you should ask that. We just finished tracking with the guy in McKee. Was it Humming Machine Studios? Adam McKee, Vince West. He's a good guy. We actually finished tracking and we're waiting to get it all mixed. And when it gets done, we're gonna have 2 full CDs, all original.
Are these your first CDs then?
first complete CDs, we've been together probably a couple years, and we've done a EP, probably 7 songs, 7 or 8 songs that we kind of did ourselves, and is actually with Vince also, a little bit more raw, probably a quick run through.
So these are more polished. These are
Yeah.
these are really your first 2 polished.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
consider the first one was, I mean, for us it was an EP. It was probably a decent demo, maybe.
Right,
But it was,
right.
it was all new to us, and so this pretty much culminates everything since then, and everything we've learned along the way, basically.
Well, give us a little bit of history here. I know where you came from, but everyone else listening doesn't know. So just a little bit of history, Edgar, and then we'll kind of go around.
I've played forever, it seems like, at this point. Well, I mean, even back with me and you, 20-some years now. Played in a lot of different bands, a lot of cover bands, mostly. Southern rock bands around here, obviously. And really just got bored with it and decided just to really start writing everything ourselves, doing our own thing, for no other reason than just for us, just for what we wanted out of it, what we enjoyed. I appreciate if anybody enjoys it as much as we do, but at the end of the day, it's really just something that we enjoy, we love.
That's the
us.
best reason to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's with the cover band stuff and stuff like that. You end up trying to please a lot of different people across a lot of different boundaries and genres, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not as rewarding. You get a lot more fulfillment out of your own stuff, and it seems like once you actually do start doing it, it's like anything else. It does become easier. You do get better. We can play some stuff from there.
Well, you all look very comfortable in what you're doing. That's one thing
Yeah.
I can always tell when I watch musicians traveling around that, once they become comfortable with their material, that's when it clicks.
Oh yeah, and that's something you have to kind of work into.
Yeah.
It's not nothing you just do. You have to kind of work into it. And we have, and it's a gradual process, and always, hopefully, it never ends, and you always just keep going.
And Charles, what about your history there?
Well, me and Edgar, we go back forever. We've been friends pretty much all our lives, and
3rd or 4th grade.
I mean, he's been in bands, that played out before, and I've always enjoyed singing. We used to do karaoke contests, stuff like that, and it wasn't until we actually got together and formed this band that we started playing together. And
He's actually a karaoke champion.
Oh, we got a champion in here. Didn't know that.
He's won.
We didn't have a red carpet, did we? Okay, jump up there. You've been wanting to talk. Let's hear the drummer.
All right.
Austin's actually, he's
The newest edition.
he wasn't our original drummer, but he's been on board since late 2010? 2010?
Yeah.
I hope your original drummer didn't spontaneously combust
No,
during a concert.
no.
Okay.
Luckily,
But Austin's been with us for a while now.
All right, Austin, what
Yeah.
about?
I mean, before I joined these guys, I was a guy that played drums. I wasn't a drummer. I was just a guy who owned a drum set and banged them on occasion. But now I would say it's been a huge learning experience for me. But I mean, my style has grown with these guys, and the music it's just gotten better, and it comes easier, and like Edgar was saying. But it's my
Well,
first
you're
band.
very fortunate, and
Yes.
I'm gonna say this because if you've joined them and they're already this comfortable, it makes it so much easier.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. At 19, getting that opportunity to play with these guys, I was yes, I will do it. No problem.
we threw him in the fire. He didn't have.
Yeah.
He really couldn't say no. It wasn't an option.
All right, well, let's hear another one from you. If you got another one ready?
We'll do.
Close your eyes.
Try to close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
This is called Close Your Eyes.
Okay.
Think I'm slowly losing my mind, watching the clock tick away that precious time that's beginning to slip away from me. Why won't your love come back and set me free? We used to be so good just spending time. Now it's always just an uphill climb, trying to find a way back to your heart. It's just so tough when I'm alone in the dark. So close your eyes and look into your soul, 'cause I never will let go of the girl you used to be. Why won't your love come set me free? I guess I always took you for granted, and now I'm drowning and feel so stranded. Where we was now a distant memory. Why won't your love come and set us free? I know that love still hides behind your eyes. Hypnotized, seem so paralyzed. Let go of all the things we've left behind. There'll be brighter days we'll surely find. Just close your eyes and look into your heart, 'cause we're never gonna be apart. Tear down these walls so we can see, and let your love come rescue me. Yeah. Whoa. Close your eyes and look into your soul, 'cause I never will let go of the girl you used to be. Why won't your love come set me free? Just close your eyes and look into your heart, 'cause we're never gonna be apart. Tear down these walls so we can see, and let your love come rescue me.
Once again, I'm very impressed. Golly. Where y'all been hiding?
Just hide out in the garage.
Out in the garage and write songs.
I wanted to just comment about your playing style there on your first song there. I saw you holding a guitar, and I thought, well, my guitar teacher told me never to hold the guitar like that. And then on that second song, I see why you're fretting the bass with your thumb over the top of the neck of the guitar, and that's don't see that too much.
You gotta break some rules.
That's what it's all about, breaking the rules, man.
That's right.
Rock and roll, you gotta break the rules.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be original, right?
That's right. Well, actually, that's sort of a rip-off of the thumb thing. At least is like a Jimi Hendrix or a Stevie Ray Vaughan. I wish my hands were that big, but it comes in handy if you can work it in.
Well, we appreciate you so much for coming in and
Thanks for having us,
entertaining us, and we want to thank everyone here at the Back Porch Barbecue. Let's give them a round of applause for taking care of everybody. Yeah, that's great. I promised Dana I wouldn't make her come up here on the microphone because, actually she threatened my life, but that's beside the point.
And if
She
anybody wants to
said,
check
"Don't
us
make me
out,
talk."
Friday, we'll be in Richmond at the Paddy Wagon.
Okay, at the Paddy Wagon.
Battle of the Bands,
Battle of the
decent
Bands
exposure.
for,
Oh,
Double Q.
well, now come vote for them. Root them on, yeah.
Go on first. Winners decided by crowd voting.
It'll
Well,
be loud electric guitars.
Yeah.
Loud electric guitars. Hey, but you know what? You did just fine acoustic. I appreciate it. It's good to mix it up.
Oh yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming in. Again, we want to thank the Berea Citizen and BereaOnline.com. Of course, once again, Back Porch Barbecue. We appreciate them hosting us here. You can find us every week. Just tune in to BreaOnline.com. You'll find all about Berea. We're going to finish up here with our community calendar, and if you don't mind, guys, I'm going to have you play a song as we exit the show later. So we'll go right into the community calendar. This is Jonathan Schinhofen.
Thank you, Chad. On September 28th, we have Contra Dance at the Russell Acton Folk Center with caller Darlene Underwood and the band The Berea Castoffs. There's a beginner lesson at 7:30 p.m., dance from 8 to 11, $7 for adults, $4 for students and seniors. Auditions for also on September 28th, auditions for the Best Christmas Pageant Ever, 10 a.m. at Trinity PCA.
Presbyterian Church of America, I think.
Thank you. Trinity PCA behind Pizza Hut in Richmond. It's for ages 6 through 16. There's a $25 registration fee and $175 tuition for show participation. Contact Letha Hembry, 986-0423. Turning Wheel Pottery on September 28th has the second and Misfits sale, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The artist lineup includes Turning Wheel, T-Horse Studio, Bill Lennox, Steve Hartzell, and Jason Meeks. Farmers Market, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the lawn in front of the St. Joe's Hospital. That's all still September 28th. October 5th, we have the 8th Annual Berea Solar Tour and Resilient Community Fair from 8:30 a.m. to 4:10 p.m. It includes a tour of open houses, celebrity chef cooking on rocket stoves. What's a rocket stove?
I do not know.
Well, they're cooking on them. Silent auction and other events. Check them out at sustainableberea.org.
I just don't know. Sustainable and rocket don't seem to go together for me. Well, I want to thank Jonathan Schinhofen, Beth Myers, Belle Jackson, Jim Lucas, and of course Augustin Anger for appearing on the show today. I'm Chad Hembry. Join us next week for more Berea news. Now we're going to let Augustin Anger play us out with another tune.
I fell down and then the sky and fell on top of me, struggling to catch my breath, felt the weight of the world. I got burned when the fire it touched me, so hard to feel with no skin on my fingertips, awakened by the pain suffering that was introduced, made me aware of what I'm made of inside of myself. But it will not define all the things that I am. You could look on the inside, but you just cannot see all the things I will be. Power within. Rise up upon my fear, face my demons down. Effortless, I take this breath as I'm coming back to life. I have healed all my wounds that you gave to me. The scars are all that remains of what you've done to me. And there is so much between what you see and what I have.
All About Berea is brought to you by Good Impressions Design. For screen printing, trophies, plaques, signs and more, check out Good Impressions' full line of services, and make a good impression with your business today. On the web at goodimpressionsdesign.com. By the Berea Citizen. Serving the community since 1899, this Berea icon continues to produce award-winning news stories and features. Pick up your copy today, or sign up for a weekly subscription by calling 859-986-0959. By BereaOnline.com. Constantly updated, this site is the most up-to-date place to find what's going on in Berea. Loaded with videos, shows, stories, articles and a full calendar of events, this site has been the place to go on the web for Bereans since 1995. The name says it all, it's Berea Online. The opinions expressed on All About Berea are not those of BereaOnline.com, the Berea Citizen, nor any other sponsor. All About Berea is a production of Tech Talk Studios and recorded weekly in Berea, Kentucky, in partnership with the Creative Tech Media Group and BereaOnline.com. All About Berea is co-produced by Rhonda McIntyre, co-produced and directed by Chad Hembry, and finally, our senior news editor is Beth Myers. If you would like to participate in All About Berea, or simply have a suggestion, we would love to hear from you. Just go to BereaOnline.com and click on All About Berea at the top of the page. For sponsorship opportunities, contact the Creative Tech Media Group at creativetechmedia.com or phone 859-626-6054. From all of us here at Tech Talk Studios, and on behalf of the cast and crew of All About Berea, thanks for listening.